Snetterton sees the second double header for the historic Formula 4 Championship in 2015. The Snetterton 300 circuit being utilised on a one-day meeting for the Formula Ford racers. Before the race, the drivers held a minute's silence in memory of Rob Fowler, who passed away on Saturday evening. Rob was a well-loved member of the historic Formula Ford community. In memory of Rob, we hope to put on a great show of historic Formula Ford racing, which will see Simon Toyne on pole position alongside novice driver and championship leader Richard Mitchell. Callum Grant starts on the inside of second row as he returns to the series, and Glenn Eaglin making his debut in the series, a driver that raced in period. Keith Farrance, ex-Formula V racer, starts fifth with Brian Morris alongside. Robert Wainwright, podium finisher at Donington Park, starts 7th with James Buckton alongside. Max Bartel returns to the series again this season. He's raced at Thruxton. He will start 9th. Alongside him will be Robert Tusting, making his debut in the series. Formula 4 2000 racer is Tusting. We're about to go racing and we're on board with Richard Mitchell, the championship leader. Simon Toyne makes a good start from pole position, and Mitchell struggles to get it into second gear, and the field go flying past him, and he's dropped down to at least halfway down the 24 car field. He's just dropped behind Max Bartel. It was a wet qualifying session, so some drivers may be out of position what they have on pace. Richard Mitchell's out of position now after a terrible start. It was a good initial getaway, but getting into second gear, real problems there for him. He's trying to come round the outside of Bartel as they turn through the Montreal hairpin. Can't do that though as the field flow up towards Palmer Corner, the third corner on this 3-mile circuit, and Callum Grant challenges Simon Toyne for the race lead. They're side by side. Grant, the former champion, returning to the series this weekend. He's going to grab the lead away from Simon Toyne. It's Wainwright up to third. He started about 7th. That's a great start. Then it's Keith Farrance in 4th place, ahead of Glenn Eaglin, who's in 5th. There's Richard Mitchell going down the inside of James Buckton. I don't think he can quite do that. Them two had a great scrap last time at Donington Park. Unfortunately, ended up in a retirement for Mitchell. So they turn their way through Hamilton, a very technical corner. And they go down towards Oggies, and then they head towards Williams and onto the Bentley Straight. They rejoin the shorter circuit, and it is Grant ahead of Toyne and Wainwright in the top 3. They already make a break with Keith Farrance under big pressure, but so's Callum Grant because Simon Toyne's fighting back. Toyne's on the inside line heading down towards the S's, Brundle and Nelson, but round the outside Grant stays in front. A great scrap for 4th, left by Keith Farrance, but Glenn Fitch and Glenn Eaglin dives down the inside, grabs 4th position. They're going 3 wide in the mid-pack too. Typical Formula Ford action on the slipstreaming circuit that is Snetterton. Richard Mitchell's already up into 7th behind Glenn Eaglin, who didn't grab 4th position, as you can clearly see. So they power up across the line, with Brian Morris at the front of this scrap. To the outside went Keith Farrance, but the inside Richard Mitchell passed both of them. Farrance has spun. Bartel has been involved in that as well. So Keith Farrance, who was going so well, has fallen down the order. Replay of Robert Wainwright grabbing second, a great move through Coram Curve to pass Simon Toyne. So he's chasing after Callum Grant now. Toyne sticking though on the gearbox of Wainwright. Now it's Mitchell into 4th. Remember, he was outside the top 10 a lap ago. So he's overtaken something like 7 cars in 1 lap in 3 miles. Great driving for the Speed Sport racer. Next, Glenn Eaglin in 5th with Brian Morris, James Buckton behind. Williams Benson just go down the inside alongside a Percy Kaviri in about a 10-car tussle as Max Bartel tried to make his way back through the field. The Essex driver, he raced at Thruxton, got 2 good results there, but has been concentrating on his classic Formula 3 campaign since then. He's been going very well with podiums and a race win, showing the quality of driver we have in the historic Formula Ford field. Michael O'Brien, who was race winner last year, the BRGC Formula 4 winner now. Of course, going further back in history, Michael Lyons, a European Le Mans Series podium driver in the P2 field. The Kaviri-Svensson battles continues. They head almost side by side down towards Brundle. The inside is Kaviri, Svensson on the outside, but he does hold on that swooping line. They head through there. Great battle also between Wiggins and Mansell there, side by side. That was Danny Stanza behind the pair of them, and his dad Kevin just up the road a bit in amongst this fantastic gaggle of cars we have. Heading now onto the centre straight. Stanza just checking his mirrors there, seeing who's behind him. They're going side by side ahead of him. Behind him is James Lovett. It's Max Bartel ahead of him. Bartel trying to swoop around the outside of Alex Meek, and I think he does that. And then here, try and also pass Jono Baines, who's up there, as well as Robert Tusting, as it all gets concertinaed up. And in fact, Bartel didn't make any of the moves, but he cuts back on the exit of the Montreal Hair to make it 3 wide with Baines and Meek. He certainly passes Meek this time. Through Palmer they turn. Nice crowd on the bank in there of this Archie Scott Brown Trophy race day. It was the Autosport 3 hours yesterday. HSCC continuing to put on great races. Already a fantastic grid assembled for Cadwell Park for historic Formula Ford in a couple of weeks' time. Already oversubscribed. On the mini Nürburgring. Down towards Williams we go, and James Lovett's had a good run. Lovett down the inside into Williams. Lovett started from the back. He's making a good run though through the field. Wainwright and Grant still tussling it out at the front. Great battles though through the field, 3 wide there. That's Baines trying to look down the inside. He can't get that done though. That's that 6-7 car battle that won't go away. Meanwhile, the leaders heading down towards the bomb hole with Robert Wainwright leading. Now Wainwright's through. He's got ahead of Callum Grant. Simon Toyne's third. Trying to stay with the 2 leaders. Into Murray's, the final corner. Russell chicane, of course, changed about 4 or 5 years ago when the remodifications of the circuit occurred. James Lovett heading onto the centre straight. Slipstream, the car ahead. That being Alex Meek. Meanwhile, they're 3 wide up ahead. As we say, a typical slipstreaming Formula Ford race Snetterton allows for, and it's exactly what we're getting. It's what happened last year. The second race was won by Ben Sims over to Wesley Mitchell by just 1/1000th of a second. Robert Tusting ahead. Lovett trying to go around the outside, but Tusting just chopping his nose off. Into Agostini, it's Wainwright, Grant, Toyne, they're all together again, the top 3. Simon Toyne's worked hard at the beginning of this lap to close them in. It's a great battle between Wainwright and Grant. Richard Mitchell now lonely in 4th spot. But we'll look further back because it's a good battle between Roland Spencer and now Max Bartel. And even further back we got Tusting and Lovett. Remember we saw them battling just a moment ago on the onboard camera. Then Alex Meeks behind with Kevin Stansel in there as well. I think at the rear of that gaggle is Rob Smith. Great stuff from Historic Formula Fords. It's side by side for the leaders. Callum Grant snatches the lead back into Brundle. It's Robert Wainwright trying to try and go right round the outside. Yes, he does. Wainwright round the outside of Brundle. It gives him the inside line for Nelson. He goes back to front. So then back into the front, and it's the Alden then back ahead of the Merlin. Robert Wainwright chased Simon Hadfield all race long at Donington Park a month ago, or a couple of weeks ago it was, and he got the second position there. Of course, Simon Hadfield was just having a one-off there. Callum Grant, potentially a one-off weekend, we'll see. He may come back for further races later in the year. He's challenging Wainwright, and they're having a great ding-dong battle. A slipstreaming classic, potentially, as they go side by side again across the line, and pretty much it would be a dead heat if the checking flag was waved there and then, but it's not. They continue racing. It's Wainwright on the inside that stays ahead. He was later on the brakes there into Ritchie's. Danny Stanzel, who had a problematic qualifying session in the slippery conditions, is trying to get ahead of Andrew Wiggins. He'd follow him down towards Williams. They turn into the right-hander. To the outside goes Stanzel. He's going to go through here. He got a good slipstream. And they swoop round the outside into Brundle to take that position. Meanwhile, this great tussle continues. There's nothing else to look at when you look back to this battle, which is being led by Roland Svensson over John O'Baines. There's Rob Smith at the rear of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars involved in that one. Meanwhile, you've got Danny Stanzel behind them with Andrew Wiggins, Andrew Mansell, Keith Farrant going back through the field. Let's see how he passed Ross Driver then. Driver is ahead of him heading into Ritchie's. Down towards Montreal they would go. And Farrant went down the inside there. Nice movement, but he had that spin at the beginning of the second lap when he was running in the battle for fourth. Back on board with Kevin Stanzel now. Onto the centre straight. This is great racing. You see cars pairing off in the slipstream. Stanzel late on the brakes. He just passed James Lovett at Ritchie's. And he always running the back of Tusting there. Turns into Palmer then. Look at that late braking move, which didn't work really. They're going to have to try and fight back at the cars ahead now. Chase them back in. It's Baines just ahead of Tusting. Up towards Hamilton now, and Tusting had two wheels on the grass there. He saved it. That could have been a bit of a worrying moment for the Formula Ford 2000 racer, which aren't racing this weekend at Snetterton. John O'Baines ran a bit wide there on the exit of Williams. Also does Tusting, who kicks up a bit of dirt in the face of Kevin Stanzel. Stanzel slipstreaming him though. He's coming down the inside. He's got it done by the looks of things. They're heading to Brundle. Meanwhile, John O'Baines has also passed Roland Svensson ahead of us. Again, showing what the slipstream does here. You can use it to your advantage. You can gain positions. James Lovett's chasing. Remember, he was passed by Stanzel into Ritchie's last time. They turn through Coram now. The corner just keeps tightening up. It's very difficult because then you have to start braking while you're turning, and then get it down into the slow left-hander, which is Murray's. But he's got a good slipstream out of Murray's. On Tusting, he's trying to go round him now. Meanwhile, Kevin Stanzel trying to gain a position ahead of us. Tusting stays ahead. Meanwhile, the lead battle just continues, has been doing so while we've been watching the other battles. Two very experienced racers, Wainwright and Grant. They know how to race hard without losing themselves too much time. That's why Simon Toy not being able to latch himself onto the back of them. They're passing each other where they're not going to hold each other up. Of course, as later you get into the race, and they might start fighting a bit harder. But at the moment, it's still the Alden of Robert Wainwright the lead. Remember, he started 7th. He had that fabulous first half a lap to get himself into 3rd position, and he passed Simon Toyne, and now him and Callum Grant are repassing each other each lap. Grant nosing ahead into Riches. He's on the outside line though. Wainwright knows where to position his car to keep himself ahead. Grant trying to go round the outside of Riches though, and they're going to be side by side on the exit of the corners. They head down towards Montreal. They are level now, but there's yellows flashing. The yellow flags are flashing into Montreal, so no pass being able to be made by Robert Wainwright because the car of Rob Smith has been parked up there on the on Chapman Curve, what it's known for, the Snetterton 200 circuit. Max Bartel turns his way onto the centre straight. It's a great four-way tussle that continuing further back. It's Svensson heading it from Kevin Stanzel, Robert Tusting and James Lovett. That battle we've been watching for a good time of the races. Less and less cars got involved in that. Danny Stanzel chasing them. He's carrying a lot of speed through corner. He's just ahead of the battle between Andrew Wiggins and Keith Farrant. Farrant's trying to come back through the field. Still it's Andrew Mansell just behind him. Wiggins and Mansell have been involved in a nice battle through the majority of the race, and Ross Dryber just ahead of McVeigh behind. Grant and Wainwright have just lapped one of the slower cars, and they're continuing to have this wonderful battle. Kevin Stanzel turns his way into Murray's. He's slipstreaming the car ahead. Will he be able to make anything of that as they turn in towards Riches? It's a long straight though, they're only halfway down. He's looking down the inside. I think it's Roland Svensson he's trying to get ahead of, and that is the difference there. Svensson going over on what is a traditional racing line. Robert Wainwright, you can see, hugged the pit wall all the way down the straight. Actually Stanzel doesn't make the position, but Wainwright holding, and actually he's going to lose out. Robert Tusting goes down the inside of him and gets past before the yellow flag zone, so Stanzel having to give way. What I was saying, Wainwright holds the inside line all the way down the centre straight, forcing Callum Grant to go the long way round, and that is what's keeping him ahead. But Callum Grant now going for a different corner. He's challenging. It's down the inside for Agostini. Wainwright trying to use the back corner to his advantage. He tries to, and he does carry the speed round the outside to stay ahead of Callum Grant. This is a great battle between the pair of them. They turn their way into Hamilton with Wainwright still ahead. Johnny Baines turns his way through Coram Curve. He's caught Perty Kaviri now. Baines got his maiden podium finish in the series last time out at Donington. Struggled in the damp qualifying sessions this morning though. Put him on the second half of the grid, but he's worked his way through the order, and he's slipstreaming past Perty Kaviri now. He's got the outside line for Riches. He leaves Kaviri room on the inside, but he's outbraked him. He's passed. Callum Grant slipstreaming Robert Wainwright down the Bentley straight. He's going down the inside of Wainwright. He's edging ahead before the bridge and the braking zone. This is the penultimate lap of the 20-minute encounter. He's got the move done. He's gone too hot into Nelson potentially, and that's allowed Robert Wainwright through. He's back ahead as they turn their way through the wormhole then for this penultimate lap. Grant looking to the inside of a corner. That isn't an overtaking position though, so he turns back onto the racing line. Working at the steering wheel all the way through the corner. A bit of correction there. Wainwright goes in deep into Murray's, but carries the speed through the corner. Now Grant slipstream will continue. Let's see if Wainwright does what he's been doing most of the race and hugging the pit wall all the way down towards Riches. I suspect he will, as the two cars absolutely level across the line as they see the last lap board. If that was the last lap, it would have been a 2,000th of a second advantage to Robert Wainwright. Grant's gone through though on the outside. Now, if that was a practice for the finish, Wainwright has the advantage. By 2,000 a second, I wouldn't have said that was safe. But it is Grant ahead now, that is the difference. Onto the infield they go. Hard on the brakes into Agostini. The second of the hairpins. Then Hamilton, this very technical corner. It's a corner that looks very different from different spectator points on the circuit, and again different if you're walking the circuit, driving it, or watching one of these on boards. So on to Williams. Now Wainwright will be thinking about the slipstream here, and he'll be using it now to get onto the gearbox of Grant. Then they dart out to the outside, and he drives round. He likes this outside line. He's done it plenty of times through the race to get himself ahead of Grant, or to stay ahead of Grant. That time he was getting ahead. So we saw what happened last time. Grant won't be able to make a move into Coram. He could potentially try a banzai into Murray's. Not sure how popular that would be. He's not going to do that though. He's thinking all about the exit. He clips the apex perfectly. Look at this then. It's a drag to the line. It's going to be absolutely level. A photo finish between the pair of them. Callum Grant looks more confused than anything, but the timing screen say it was a 4,000th of a second victory for Robert Wainwright in that Snetterton Classic, yet another one. Callum Grant though doesn't look too disappointed with second. In memory of Rob Fowler, all the drivers run in 3x3 formation after that fantastic motor race. Simply won't see many other series as close as that anywhere in the world. Historic Formula Fords providing no dull races at all this season, quite the opposite in fact. And there is another race as well to come later on this afternoon here at Snetterton. So it was a win, of course, for Robert Wainwright by 0.004 seconds to Callum Grant. Simon Toyne, that was third, he did drop back a little bit in the end. Richard Mitchell, novice driver, in fourth. Glenn Eaglin came fifth, just ahead of James Buckton. Max Bartel recovered to seventh ahead of Brian Morris, with Jono Baines behind in ninth. Perto Carreri completed the top 10, with Callum Grant taking the fastest lap, an average of 84 miles per hour.